Tonight, the biggest star in boxing, Tank Davis. And joining the beat of the game is Miami resident hip-hop star, influencer Ruby Rose.
Understand the talent difference, the experience difference. We understand all of that. But the size, the pure, and we understand small guys can beat big guys. We just saw Crawford do it to Canelo.
Wait, I thought it was 190. Dean, that's bad. Because you know what that tells me? That tells me that even he recognizes that he's too big for him. Yes. He recognizes that he's too big for him.
The uncut Netflix face-off between Jake Paul and Gervonta Tank Davis quickly turned into a tense, must-see moment. The atmosphere was electric as Tank suddenly shoved Jake during the stare-down, proving this matchup carries far more emotion than simple promotion. The two exchanged heated words right after, their faces showing a mix of confidence, irritation, and intensity. Fans immediately noticed the stark size difference, with many surprised at how small Tank appeared next to Jake. Still, others reminded everyone that size doesn't win fights, skill, speed, and timing do. As Jake confidently summed it up, "At the end of the day, I gave this little guy an opportunity."
At the end of the day, I gave this little guy an opportunity. He should be thanking me. I'm paying him. I'm his boss. He reports to me, and I'm going to fucking son him on November 14th. So fuck you, little man.
You pay me? You pay me?
Yeah.
100%? 100%. Facts?
Correct.
Yes? Correct?
Correct. I'm your daddy.
Teddy Atlas, the legendary boxing trainer and commentator known for his no-nonsense analysis, wasted no time addressing what stood out most during the Jake Paul vs. Gervonta Tank Davis face-off, the sheer size difference. According to Atlas, it wasn't just obvious, it was overwhelming. He painted a vivid picture, saying Jake towered over Tank and joked that the smaller man might need a ladder just to reach Jake's chin. While Atlas has always emphasized that boxing is about skill, timing, and willpower, he reminded fans that physical dimensions can't be ignored, especially when the gap is this extreme. He drew a comparison to when Canelo Alvarez moved up to face Terence Crawford, pointing out that even in that scenario, the fighters looked naturally closer in size in this case. However, Atlas believed the physical imbalance was too significant for the matchup to feel fair. He acknowledged Tank's explosive power and ring IQ, but against someone with Jake's height and strength, Atlas felt the fight already looked like a mismatch before the first bell.
Things, right? They should also have like the size of the ring, the size of the glove, all that stuff. Particulars should be in the contract, but I would probably look for one thing that is not the common thing to have in a contract if I'm Tank. A ladder. A ladder. Can I get a ladder? Somebody? You know what I mean? Hey, look, all kidding aside, if he hits him on the chin the way he can punch, Jake might be doing a dance. You know what I mean? Not voluntarily either. But we'll get into that more later. The thing that I'm talking about right here is what you said. It was stark. The size difference was really, you couldn't ignore it. We understand the talent difference, the experience difference. We understand all of that. But the size, the pure, and we understand small guys can beat big guys. We just saw Crawford do it to Canelo, but a little different. The size difference was, it was eye-catching, jaw-dropping, and it made me think, and I'm going to ask Richie, our man here who's doing all the taping, who does such a marvelous job. I'm going to ask him, because I know he's an expert in this area, but it reminded me of one of the Rocky movies where they had where they did the wrestling thing with Rocky and Hulk Hogan, a.k.a. Thunderlips. He was Thunderlips back there. And I thought I had it right, and it was confirmed to me. It's Rocky III.
Greg Hackett, a well-respected boxing coach and trainer, weighed in on Gervonta Tank Davis's mindset ahead of his clash with Jake Paul and expressed full confidence in the champion's approach. According to Hackett, Davis isn't the type to get distracted by outside noise or fall for the hype surrounding Jake Paul's promotional tactics. Tank knows exactly what he wants and how to get it, Hackett said firmly. Insiders from the gym have echoed that sentiment, reporting that Davis has been laser-focused throughout camp. His sparring sessions have been described as intense and disciplined, with Tank pushing himself harder than ever. Sparring partners say he's looked sharp, ruthless, and completely locked in, showing zero signs of complacency or overconfidence.
It's something for you new to do to try to keep you fresh and this and that, keep your name hot. You got to stay in the algorithms. You know, it's just a lot of pressure on fighters. And I feel like Tank being at, what is he, 30 years old? And you got kids. See, what people forget about is it come a time in a man's life where he just wants to slow down. You know what I'm saying? We can't all run around like we used to back in the day. I mean, that's tough to do. Sometimes you just want to sit down, enjoy your fruits. And I feel like that could be what he's going through. He want to just enjoy the fruits of his labor and enjoy life. And people don't want to hear that because they feel like you got more work to do. But it's his life.
Observers at recent media events also noted Gervonta Tank Davis's calm, composed demeanor, a quiet confidence that reflected both focus and maturity. He appeared fully aware of what's at stake, yet unshaken by the bright lights or the noise surrounding the spectacle. For Tank, this fight is about more than fame or money, it's about making a statement. It's his chance to prove that no matter the stage or spotlight, he can still perform at the highest level. A victory here wouldn't just add another name to his record, it could catapult him further into mainstream recognition, earning him the kind of global attention typically reserved for influencers and internet celebrities, while reminding the world that in boxing, skill and discipline still reign over showmanship.
In the press conference, and you can just look at him and tell, like, no, this dude he's going to get this money for sure because there's so much money out there to be had. But Jake Paul better be not playing around, man. Not get cute, not play any games. Don't hit him in the back of the head. Don't rabbit punch him. Don't do any of that stuff, man, because Mike Tyson, first of all, Mike Tyson, a lot of people think Mike Tyson was pulling punches on Jake Paul, and a lot of people think that Anderson Silva was pulling punches on him too. You're not going to have a little Gervonta out there pulling punches on you, man, if you're out there playing games. So, I don't like the fight at all. However, as far as it being an entertaining situation, I almost guarantee you that fight itself is going to be entertaining. That it's going to be something that you look at and you're going to say, man, everybody's going to watch it. Everybody's going to want to know what happens in it. But at the same time, it's kind of like what people think, when you see a car crash, like you're driving down the road and all of a sudden the traffic gets heavy and you're like, man, I'm going to be in traffic for a long time. And then you drive forward a little bit and then you see, oh man, this is some accident on the other side of the road and everybody just slowing down to watch. That's the type of entertainment that you can expect from this fight between Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul.
Eddie Chambers, a former heavyweight contender turned respected coach, offered a more measured take on the Jake Paul versus Gervonta Tank Davis matchup. He reminded fans that boxing history is filled with examples of smaller fighters toppling bigger opponents. According to Chambers, those fixated on size are missing the deeper truth of the sport. Timing, experience, and technique often matter far more. He pointed to classic cases where disciplined, intelligent fighters use superior ringcraft to overcome physical disadvantages. In this matchup, Chambers believes Jake's height and reach could serve him well early on, but Tank's explosive footwork, timing, and tactical sharpness might quickly erase that edge. Fights aren't won by tape measures, Chambers said. They're won by execution under pressure. He concluded that while Jake's physical tools are undeniable, Tank's precision, instincts, and championship experience could ultimately make him the more dangerous man once the bell rings.
That something like this can happen, but this is social media, this is what it's created. There's a lane that Jake Paul has created. Honestly, I'm not mad at him for it. He's gotten a lot of fighters and, actual fighters some shine. It also has done for women's boxing a lot. So I'm not mad at him for what he's been in boxing, what he's created. This is a little crazy right here. This is a little crazy. And a lot of people will say, Tank is too small. Let me tell you something. Anybody that gets in the ring with Tank that is not a damn dinosaur is going to feel something from it. And it ain't going to be easy to hit it. Got boxing IQ. He may not sound like an intellectual guy when you hear him talk, but he knows the ring inside and out. So there's nothing that Jake Paul can do aside from make it extremely ugly by grabbing him and probably trying to throw him to the ground. I don't know what else, bite him. I don't know, but I mean, the skill level alone. Now, of course, there is a size difference, a height difference, and all that, but he's just going to struggle so much landing a shot. It's just going to look bad to me. This is the way I see it. It's going to look bad. Tank is going to be too fast. And the punch, I believe, I'm not saying it's going to knock him out or, but he's going to feel it.
Timothy Bradley, the former world champion turned boxing analyst, made his stance clear. He sees the Jake Paul versus Gervonta Tank Davis fight as easy money for Tank. Bradley's confidence comes from the stark contrast in their professional backgrounds. He emphasized that Davis has spent years competing against elite, battle-tested opponents who understand the intensity and rhythm of true championship boxing. Jake Paul, by comparison, has only faced a handful of professionals, many of them retired athletes or crossover personalities. While Bradley acknowledged Jake's dedication, discipline, and positive impact in bringing new eyes to the sport, he insisted that stepping into the ring with Tank is an entirely different challenge. Davis's ring IQ, composure under pressure, and mastery of timing make him, in Bradley's words, a complete fighter. For Bradley, this matchup highlights the difference between natural-born fighters and late arrivals to the game. He believes Tank's experience gives him a commanding edge, and once the real punches start flying, Jake's size advantage won't matter. When the skill gap shows, Bradley said, that's when you'll see the difference between a fighter by passion and a fighter by profession.
Yeah, you prove your innocence and say that it ain't fixed. Because check this out, Tank ain't gonna lose this fight. Hell no. Hell no. Tank ain't losing this fight. Too many holes. Man, Jake don't have enough experience. Yeah, man, this gonna be taking candy from a baby. Jake is missing the rules. See, this is what happened when you don't grow up in the game. When you don't grow up in the game, man, at a young age, this is what happens. You start reading your own press clippings. That's what Jake is doing. Fighting this lower level competition, and now he think he them ish. Now he think he the man. He ain't the man. You kidding me? He is not the man. Oh no. Yeah, false sense of security. Now he trying to pick on small folks, right? And I don't mean that in a bad way. Yeah, I'm just saying size-wise. Yeah, that's another thing, boxing one-on-one. You can't pay attention to size. Hell no, I told y'all it's the size of the heart, right? In that damn dog. It ain't the size of the damn dog, and I told y'all that, man. Yeah, it's the same thing here. And it's about the smartest dog. Tank too smart for him. Tank got too much boxing IQ for Jake, man. This gonna be easy. Easy. Like I said, man, Tank, please, man, don't do this to boxing, bro. If there's anything, man, shoot, man, we can put together some kind of account for you, a GoFundMe account or whatever, bro. And we can, all your fans can give you $1, bro, so that way you don't be blowing this fight. It's easy, bro. This sparring section. Look, I'm so confused. I don't know what the hell to call this. The circus? Just call it a circus. Yeah, just call it a damn circus. Because, 1 minute they said, oh, this is the fight.
Pauli Malignaggi, the former world champion and outspoken boxing analyst, didn't hold back when discussing Gervonta Tank Davis. He claimed that Tank's career has been overprotected and under-challenged, arguing that Davis has yet to face truly dangerous opposition or prove himself against the very best in his division. According to Malignaggi, much of Tank's reputation has been built on spectacular knockouts and strategic matchmaking rather than consistently taking on elite-level competition. His remarks echo a broader debate within boxing circles, whether Davis has truly tested himself against enough high-caliber opponents to be considered among the sport's greats. Fans often counter that argument, pointing to Tank's unmatched combination of speed, precision, and knockout power as proof of his elite talent. Still, critics like Malignaggi maintain that true greatness requires risk, facing top-tier fighters, not just marketable matchups. Despite the ongoing divide in opinion, one thing remains certain. Gervonta Davis continues to be one of boxing's biggest draws, a fighter whose presence guarantees excitement every time he steps into the ring.
He's trying to clown people, but then he admits that Tank is the biggest name in Western boxing. So, doesn't even make sense. Listen again.
Boxing, either the fans have gone down to the dumbest level possible, or the media themselves have gone down to the dumbest level possible for names.
See, so he's already trying to roast the fans and anybody who says Tank's the face of boxing, basically calling people dumb, right? Oldest trick in the book. But then he says, I understand that Tank is probably the biggest name in the West.
Naming this guy is the face of boxing. I understand we don't have anything. The fact that
I understand we don't have anything. Keep listening.
maybe this is the biggest marquee name in the West at the moment.
Right. Maybe this is the biggest marquee name at the moment in the West. He is the biggest name in the West. Name somebody bigger. Right? Point blank, period. So you're off to a bad start. Name calling. Then you're acting like you don't understand it whilst mentioning he's the biggest name in boxing. And you're saying it's disturbing. Why is it disturbing?
It's certainly disturbing, but it also shows you that you can make anything into a star at this point.
Recent reports suggest that Gervonta Tank Davis may be contemplating retirement following his highly anticipated showdown with Jake Paul. Sources close to his camp indicate that Tank's priorities have begun to shift, from chasing legacy to achieving complete financial freedom. The fight with Jake is expected to deliver one of the biggest paydays of his career, a financial milestone that could allow him to walk away from boxing on his own terms. Many observers view this as a calculated and practical move rather than an emotional one. After all, Tank has already captured multiple world titles and established himself as one of the sport's biggest stars. For someone who has accomplished so much, continuing to fight might no longer be a necessity. Still, the boxing community remains split. Some fans believe Tank's talk of retirement is sincere, while others suspect it's part of a promotional tactic to build intrigue and drive interest in what could be one of the most watched fights of his career.
Go band for band on what you making. Again, there's nothing wrong with Tank going to get his money, but let's all be clear that that's all the fight is for Tank. He's telling you without telling you that he's fighting Jake just because he's getting $40 million. So when we talk about boxing being dead, Tank has to line up at the front of the line. I can't blame him, but don't throw around, oh, boxing's dead and people switch sides and all of that. You chose not to be great. That's it. You chose not to be great. Stuff like that, choices like that will kill boxing, for sure. On a competitive level, it won't kill it on a business level. On a business level, until people run out of interest in these kind of matchups, it'll do well. On a competitive level, choosing not to fight the best will kill the sport. So maybe it's better if people like Tank aren't in the sport. And I don't even say that because I want that to be the case. I think Tank is ridiculously talented, but you can't want a fighter to fight more than what they want to. You can't. Tank fans or Tank people that like Tank and think he's one of the best, you can't want it for him. And then Shakur came back with, that's how I know you soft. I can't even go back and forth with you soft ass. You rather pop to me on social media than get in that fire and get embarrassed. I get it. Peace and blessings upon you, cuz. He says, the people got your chest out so bad. You talking like you a killer, forgetting that you the one that runs, bitch. I'll be bring the fight to you. This dude, a made-up character. Quote, blessings upon you. Clown-ass dude, wanna be Kevin Gates? Oh my goodness. I mean, here's the thing though. You can't say that stuff about Shakur if you're not willing to fight him. This is the point I think that we're going to come to today, is that Tank can say all this stuff he wants, but if you're not willing to fight Shakur, then none of it means anything anymore. Even if you believe that Tank is going to knock him out, even if you believe that Shakur's a runner, or that he's not in the trenches, or he's not a boxer that's willing to bring the fight, or whatever, none of it matters. You're talking from the sideline because you won't fight him. What does that say about Tank?